sometimes feel like life as a creative person is a bit like that scene at the end of Zoolander when he walks down the runway and has to not get distracted by the beautiful celebrities.
Do not be distracted by the beautiful celebrities.
Seems like everywhere you look online, you'll see some success story of somebody absolutely smashing it on YouTube or millions of streams and doing really, really well. And it's hard not to let that get to you. One of the things that really helps me is just getting outside. I mean, it still amazes me how you can just go for a little walk out in nature, and after a certain amount of time, your head just clears and you feel just like a weight has been lifted. Especially when you top it off with a nice coffee. Okay, so here I am in my studio again, ready for this week's newsletter, podcast, YouTube video, episode thingy. This week has been pretty cool, actually. I hit a massive milestone this week. I recorded and released my 20th piano improvisation album. It's like, what the? 20 albums. Yeah, I mean, I'll be totally honest with you, they do very little in terms of streams or anything like that. It was like an exercise that I started like, what if? And I did it as a podcast initially. And it was like, then I realized, oh wait, I'm getting a lot of listens on my podcast thing, but I'm not earning any money from that whatsoever. So there probably is a way I could monetize it. I'm sure there is. But in this instance, I've just shifted a little bit away from that podcast. It was called the Soft Piano Music Podcast. And gone to just producing the albums and enjoying that process. Obviously, I want to have more views and stuff like that. But 20 albums, I mean, that's pretty awesome. So, where are we? Here we go. Riverside Meadow. Went for a walk with my mum earlier this week, and there was this lovely scene. It was by the river. It was this lovely meadow, and I just looked at that. I took a picture, and I thought, right, I'm going to go home and write some music about this. And this is the album that came out of it. It's like 8 or 9 tracks, all improvised. I've actually recorded the process. It's one of those things. I record the process, and then I go, no, damn it, I've got to do something with this video footage now. So there we go. That was the 20th album, Riverside Meadow, which I'm pretty pleased with. Other release news, my epic artist, The Phoenix Ascending, have released their first album. I have released some singles through them, and I have a YouTube channel associated, which I spent more time focusing on the YouTube channel as opposed to releasing the stuff. But now I thought, actually, I should get an album out because I love albums, and I've got at least 7 great tracks. I think I've got about 13. So I'm almost ready for album number 2. But I wanted to kind of get this one out and do it. So this is album number 34? Officially. 34? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 34. It might be more. Anyway. So for the print music website, which actually I also spent the time this week just having a little noodle around with. I really love text-based websites. Hardly any images, just straight to the point. This doesn't need to be like one of those. I go to some labels' websites and I sit there and I'm watching all these videos sort of automatically streaming, and I get it. And it probably does do something in terms of retention and excitement and brand and all that stuff. But actually, I just wanted this to be something really simple. Have an about page. I shouldn't be opening them. I haven't written the long version of the about yet. A roster of artists, which actually, when I wrote this roster of artists down, I was like, oh my God. So these are all the artists I wrote under the names of. So it's kind of, it should be fantasy and cinematic, Indian alternative, and this could be classical. But yeah, so I'll move a couple of those around. Classical's one of those loaded words. That's why I don't like it. I might just have Indian alternative and fantasy and cinematic and then have them all together. Eventually I'll have links for each of these that will take you to a page with all their releases. Don't really know what to do with it aside from that at this point in time. And then obviously news and updates, that goes straight to my own website, which actually I've been having a lot of fun doing blogging. I guess you'd say it's blogging like it's 1996 or blogging like it's 2004. I'm just, instead of doing all my news updates on social media, I'm doing them on my website. I have so many issues with social media and the way it kind of affects us all. And I love it when I stumble upon, oh, here we go. This is me recording the 20th album. These were the kind of scenes of the word. Oh yeah, there we go, 33rd. I did release my 33rd album as well. I should really have put that note in the newsletter, which I'm currently writing at the moment. I'll have to add that one down. I'm going to do that now. 7. The Master Sword. Oh, it's all in caps. Never mind. Been blogging like it's 1996. Basically, I love it when I stumble upon an artist or a writer or a cartoonist or a blogger. Like take XKCD, for example. This webcomic. I love this webcomic. And I kind of, it's not like I'm nostalgic for the old days of the internet, but I kind of am nostalgic for the old days of the internet when you'd find a blog and you'd share it and you'd just go there, or you'd subscribe to the RSS feed, or you'd just keep returning back to there and you just enjoy that content and you'd go to that website because of that person. I read an interesting article on the Social Media Escape Club's blog, who also talks about blogging like it's 1996, about how when you used to create, it used to be just a case of you would create and that would be it. You would, so before all this sort of social media stuff, you'd write some music and you'd be like, wicked, I've written a piece of music, and then you go off and have some fun. You might share it with your friends, you might burn it to a CD and take it to your friend's house and be like, dude, check out my new track. And then you sort of sit there bopping your heads and it was awesome. And yeah, okay, we had far less opportunities available to us then, but it wasn't a case of what happens to me now, which is like, I'll do a piece of music and then I'll pick up my phone and scroll through social media and maybe I'll share an image. But I usually, this is the thing I don't like about it, is I say to myself, oh, I'm going to share a picture of album number 20. I open up a social media platform and I go on there, and after 5 minutes, I've forgotten why I'm there. And that's the worst part. If I could go, maybe it's just my attention span, but if I could go on there, do the thing and just do that, but I can't. I find it really difficult. So I've been kind of returning to this notion of blogging like this is my social media feed. I'm probably going to rebuild my website a little bit, actually. My main website, this is, because I want the blogs to be front and center. Because I kind of built this when I went through my I'm going to try Instagram feed. So I don't know whether you know, in the last week's newsletter or last week's video, podcast, whatever, I mentioned that my website got absolutely hammered by Google updates. And I mean hammered. So the Google updates, those of you who don't know, there's been some big Google updates that have had a huge effect on small publishers like myself. You might probably have noticed there's more Reddit and AI stuff in the Google feeds. But what that's basically meant is that, I'm not going into the politics of it, but what that's basically meant is that I've lost 90% of my traffic. And with that, 95% of my sales. So last year I was like, right, that's why you may have noticed me on Instagram a lot more, and in fact all of the videos, producing videos. So I was like, right, I'm going to try another tack. That's it. It's from sailing, isn't it? Try another tack where I'm going to produce the these videos in the hope that it drives more course sales. And I did like 120 days straight of daily video uploads. Yeah, I saw some interesting things. I learned a lot. And the most important thing I learned is that I don't want to be doing that. I love, the thing I liked the most about it was that it allowed me to be silly. I liked that. That was the thing I learned about it. And also, I suppose actually, when I look back at it, I did learn a lot. I also learned that I don't want to focus on how-to content. That's not saying I don't want to do how-to content, but I don't want to just be endlessly sharing how to make your piano arpeggios more interesting, how to make your trailing music less muddy, how to do this. I don't want to be doing that all the time. You know, if someone comes to me and says, how do I do this? Then I go, great. So for example, on my YouTube channel, there's a free masterclass on rhythm writing because one of my audience, who's awesome, Tom, he came to me and was like, look, I'm a bit confused about writing rhythms. How do you do it? So I was like, let me show you. So I recorded these, 8 videos about taking a simple rhythm and turning it into a percussion track, essentially. That was really fun. So, I've gone off track. Going back to the initial thing, which is my website got absolutely tanked by Google, but in the process, I went to Instagram and I changed the front of my website to become like a funnel, basically. All about giving composers the knowledge, tools, and confidence to level up their cinematic music. Sign up for a weekly newsletter where I share tips and codes of music, improving the mindset and the odds to fun. Okay, I still do that, the weekly newsletter. Great. But I don't think my content is about giving composers knowledge, tools, and confidence to level up their cinematic music. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, put it in the comments below, but I think I'm kind of like your composer buddy who's just like, oh, you want to see how to do this? Cool, let me show you. Or, oh, by the way, I've just released this and I've had these results. I'm just your composer friend. And maybe that's I think that's it. You know, and I've got a lot of these tags on my website, which is about how to write horror music, how to write piano music, how to la 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 la. But all of that is just completely defunct now because of my website being tanked. Not defunct, but I just have to kind of rethink it all. Yes, this is important so that people know what I've done. I mean, I haven't been updating it at all, which is really annoying because it would be good to have recent placements and stuff like that. But that's really important because it's like, okay, anyone who wants to learn from me, blah, 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 blah. Feature posts, this is all silly because this was like the ultimate guide to training music. That's pretty good. Direct to fan project, I'm still trying to do that. It's just one of those things I've just always put aside on the back burner. What is Dungeon Synth? So here, what I wanted to do was I was thinking, do I just... Okay, if my website's been tanked, maybe I go super niche. As I'm writing Dungeon Synth, why don't I do a Dungeon Synth course, Dungeon Synth this, Dungeon Synth that? And I thought, wait. I don't want to be doing endless courses just to get traffic to my website. So I kind of look back over my past as a composer and content creator, and I go, I've always wanted to have a blog, like the blogs I used to read in the early noughties. And I started one in 2005, actually, 2005, 2006, where it was like me just sharing thoughts and ideas and behind the scenes of writing music. And then I completely pooped the bed and just gave up on it because I was like, firstly, no one was reading it, doy. Secondly, I panicked I wasn't good enough. I panicked I didn't know anything. I panicked about basically imposter syndrome big time, so I stopped. And I kind of kept returning to this. But actually, this week, just going like, F the rules. I don't want to have a featured image because I don't want to have to always produce a featured image. I mean, featured images are cool and they are quite a good idea and they're quite fun to kind of create, but I don't always want to have a featured image. I mean, it's nice for me to get my comics out there, but sometimes I don't want to do that. Sometimes I just want to just do a post sharing this week's numbers, this week's streaming numbers, boom, which you can see in the newsletter. Actually, this week's numbers, interesting one. Was it 98,000? So 2,000 more than last week, but I haven't really done anything. So it's more just sort of talking about my plans of what I'm going to push, and etc., etc., etc. So this has been really, really fun. And for this stuff, I often go back to a couple of people who I really look up to. And one of them is Austin Kleon, his website, and Derek Sivers, the founder of CD Baby. I love Derek's website. It's so simple, and it's just like you go there and you go, oh, this is clear. I know what to do. I know where to go. It doesn't need to be all snazzy and lovely. And Austin Kleon's website, again, really simple. Just a blog roll in the middle, about him, link to all his books, links up there. The thing I like funnels, but the thing I don't like about funnels is I don't think they really encourage fans. A true fan who really enjoys you and your content will go to your website and just dig in. And that's what I do on these two websites, on Austin and Derek's websites. I just go there and just go through it. And I get excited about, oh, there's a new post. I haven't read this one. So I haven't read this one. Your next best friend. Boom, which is usually a link to his newsletter. But still, even just seeing his artwork. And again, Derek's got this wonderful thing where he's got a now page, which he always tells everyone to do, which I always think is really, really cool. And I've been meaning to do that on my website. And I think I've got something similar where it's like a start here page, but this isn't quite, it's not quite there. And I've got my about page, which I need to update. The thing, I've got what I'm working on at the moment, which I don't update because I forget it's in my about page. I forget yada, yada, yada. So why am I sharing all this? Because this is important for you and for me, because most of you, if not all of you, are music makers of some kind. And some of you, if not a lot of you, have or want to get into the space of creating content around your music. And one of the things I've learned about this is that you have to understand yourself quite a lot, but it's very important that you change your mindset about it. I was really hard on myself about the Google updates tanking my website. I was really hard on myself about 110 days on Instagram and basically nothing. I mean, I think I got like 50 subscribers in 110 days. I was really hard on myself, but then I listened to this podcast episode on the Smart Passive Income podcast about small experiments. And Derek Sivers, in one of his books, talks about it. It's just saying, well, let's see what happens if. So what happens if I do daily posts on Instagram? Okay, not much. How did I feel? And that's what happens in this Smart Passive Income podcast episode. They talk about, it's Pat Flynn, and I'm sorry, but I forget the lady's name, but she talks about trying experiments and just sort of checking in with yourself, seeing how you feel. And when I'm on this like content production treadmill, I start to feel really disillusioned because I start to then focus so much on the numbers, and I start to then, that's why I started this episode with the bit at the beginning, do not be distracted by the beautiful celebrities. You start to look around and see, well, they're doing that and doing really well. I'm going to copy that. And then you completely throw yourself out of the window. You completely ignore the fact that actually you don't want to do that. For instance, there's a YouTuber called Davey504. Really funny videos, and I've kind of sort of on and off watched him for years, and I watch his videos and I go, oh mate, he's doing really well. I think I'd really love to do funny videos like that. And then I'm just like, wait, stop it. Like, yes, I like funny videos, and I put some skits in my content because I wanted to see how they did, etc. But when you're in this world, and the same with when you're writing music, it's very, very easy to get distracted by what other people are achieving success with. You could see them doing well with polka. And you go, well, I've never tried polka before. And yeah, there is a certain amount of just being inspired by, and that's okay, as long as you kind of keep it in this realm of what feels like me and what do I want to be doing. I really like these videos. I hate editing. Yeah, I could probably hire an editor, but this is why I've always navigated towards podcasts, and this is why the video of this is actually secondary to the podcast. And there is a part of me that's thinking, do I just go back to audio only again, like I did with the Trailer Music Composers podcast? Because I want this to be a lot more about you watching me build a record label and seeing how I write the music. This is more of a kind of chat with a buddy than it is I'm going to be teaching you something. And it's difficult for me to come to terms with that because I obviously formed my content, my online content around education. But actually, when I look back at it, what I was doing was I was writing trailer music and sharing how I did that. So when I did a dark fantasy album, I would share myself doing that and create a course around it. And that's what I kind of misunderstood. I thought it was, I create courses. No, it was, I share what I'm doing. So that's where I'm at. That's this week. It's been really a really nice week in terms of that, and I feel like I'm getting more and more revelations in terms of that. But one thing that's been wonderful has been that I have started embracing the fact that I am building a record label of my own music, and that is my number one goal. And it has been for many, many, many years. I just chickened out many times. So if there is some hot take from this video audio newsletter, it's to not get distracted by other people and what they're achieving success with, and just do what you do and share that. If you want to teach, then teach. If you want to write music and show people writing music, do that. If you want to do comics, do that. If you want to do lots of different things, find a vehicle. This has been my thing. Find a vehicle that delivers on that. If you like doing comics, if you like chatting, if you like bits and bobs, you like producing content as and when, then maybe a blog is the best thing. And yes, I know everyone's saying blogging is dead, but I don't think it is. I think it's just very, very, very different. And I'm not doing the blog to garner millions of views and stuff like that. I'm doing the blog because I would be thinking and talking about this stuff anyway. And that's why I do these. And this is why I did the kind of admission of a new format last week, was because actually I'm building a record label and I'm sharing the process. Right, I think it's about time I had another coffee. I really do appreciate you guys listening. If you've got any comments, please put them in the comments below. I put these videos on YouTube. I also have these audio on all the podcasting, well, not all the podcasting, some of the podcasting platforms like Apple and Spotify. But these all, I've started using Substack because they give me free podcast hosting. So if you want to comment below, the best place is probably to go over to my Substack, which there'll be a link to. And I'm really grateful, and you are awesome, and I hope you got something out of this. And I'll see you in the next one.